today I kind of wanted to talk about how changing your beliefs is manifesting in your life, and all of the different levels, all of the different ways that that can happen. And one of the things that we have touched on very lightly has been about how changing your beliefs literally changes your memories. It changes your past. Because whenever you are um, when you are functioning under a false belief, everything that you have experienced throughout your life is filtered through those false beliefs. And if again, it's we've talked about shifting the crystal. I've talked about we're each unique, radiant, rare, and precious cosmic miracles. There is no other person, no other being, no other existence, other life like ours, and we are the only one of us that there is. So, when we have an experience or a situation, what we remember from that is truly our own perspective. It does not in any way, shape, or form mean that that's what actually happened. And as I've talked before in the past, being able to put, excuse me, uh, using a situation or a circumstance, an event, no matter whether the event is positive or negative, every person set that in the center of your perspective. And every person who is involved with that experience or situation, they're going to be standing in a different place around that experience. So, how they see or perceive that experience is not only filtered through their belief system, but it's also filtered through the um, oh, blah, 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 I lost the word. Um, it's filtered through the belief system, but it's also filtered through um, the place, the perspective that you're seeing it from. So when you change your belief system and or your perspective, then you will be able to shift that experience within yourself, how you remember it, how you observe it, how you perceive it. And one of the things that we get to do um, as enlightened, aware, conscious beings is to literally change the memories. And by that, I'm not talking about putting your head in the sand about what is going on in the moment. I'm talking about the old memories, the past. And if there is any experience or situation in your past that has traumatized you, has created all kinds of fear and uh, limiting your behavior, limiting your ability to express and experience your life because of how you perceive those experiences. When you become aware of that experience in that way, you have the ability to go back and within your own mind, just to imagine. This is where the visualization and the imagination is so powerful and so important. I mean, there's people who actually take classes or teach classes on this kind of thing. But it's about your visualization. What you create in your mind is more powerful than anything else. In fact, there is nothing that exists in this world that wasn't first created in your mind. So a memory is a mind creation too. We think it's an experience, but it really isn't. It's our memory of an experience. It's not what actually happened. Because I don't think there's any experience in the world or that could actually exist that everyone would hold the same perspective of it. And when I've shared this information in the past, I've had people say, "Wow, isn't that cheating?" And it's like, well, no, it's not cheating. It's being in your truth. It's you created the memory from a false belief. So how is it wrong to create the memory from your truth? Take any situation or circumstance, even if it's something as simple as having an argument with a friend or a coworker or something like that was pretty nasty and really traumatizing to you. And you remember this event and this experience in a certain way. And every time you think about it, you replay it in the way that you remember it. And every time you replay it, that old tape, it triggers all of the old emotions, the false beliefs, the perspective that you saw it from. So all you're really doing is just repeating an old experience over and over again. And it really is literally like watching an old movie or a movie that you've seen numerous times. And even in doing that, seeing a movie that you've seen numerous times, you're going to see new stuff. You're going to have a better perspective of what you're actually seeing and how to interpret it. So that's what we get to do with our memories. Before I go any further, I just kind of wanted, I'm not getting any indication that my call-in switchboard is working. So I'm not real sure how to fix that at this point. So if you're trying to call in and you're not getting through, that is why. But so maybe somebody calling in will trigger it or turn it back on. I have no clue why that's happening. So anyway, getting back to our conversation. When you come into the awareness that you're giving your power away or you're trying to please others, and you can go back into a memory or of an experience that you had where you were, and replay that as you remember it up to this point. And as you are remembering it or replaying it in your mind's eye on your middle screen, you're going to see differences in it because you have already changed your perspective in this moment of who you are. So in a sense, you're not going to ever be able to see that memory in the same way anyway because you have already shifted your beliefs and the choices that you made, the perspective, the way that where the crystal is setting. So when you remember something or if there's something that is really causing you pain, go into that memory and look at it from who you are now, from your truth now. Well, if I believe that I'm a beautiful, radiant, rare, and precious cosmic miracle, and so is everyone else, then how can I hold on to my perspective of what this memory is revealing to me or mirroring to me? And at the moment that you begin to become aware of how that memory is literally a distortion based on the beliefs that you held, then it's you have the power to change it. So at that point, what you do is you see yourself and the other person or people that you are interacting with in the situation. You see yourself responding differently. You see yourself, instead of getting angry, you have compassion or you have empathy, or you just acknowledge this makes me angry, but let's fix the problem. You do something to shift your behavior in your memory. And at the same time you do that, you will perceive the other people's behavior shifting accordingly. And when you have, in essence, shifted the crystal to where you are perceiving that memory through this truth that you hold now, then it'll become a very positive experience for you. You can let go of the trauma of it, of the negativity of it, of the anger and of the fear, because it's not real to begin with. It's only our imprint of it. I'm hoping this is making sense. I'm a little concerned that I'm not getting any kind of indication that I'm even connected here. So give me just a second. If we're on the air, I'm going to pause while I look and see. Okay, I'm pushing buttons here just to see if there is anything that I missed or that got unclear. And so far, everything is the way it's supposed to be. So I'm going to assume that you are all hearing me and everything is working well. Okay, so I just got a text from a dear friend saying that you can hear me. So thank you for that. It makes a difference. So I hope that this information that I'm giving you as far as changing memories is resonating with you. And I also hope that you have been able to utilize the tools that I've been sharing with you over these past 6 months to give you information about how to experience and express differently. You know, we're all going through these changes. There is nobody that is exempt from them. And it doesn't matter what your vibration is, you're still going to be going through changes because none of us are at or the galactic human level. None of us have ascended. And so we're all going through the changes. And oh my goodness, our bodies are being rewired, we're being downloaded, we're releasing stuff, we're being inundated with all of this pure love energy that is just pushing and pushing and pushing, not going to allow any kind of negativity or doubt or anything that is not of our true nature to manifest for us. And the more that we accept that, instead of resisting it or going into the fear and the doubt and the, oh my God, what's going to happen now, the more that we are going to evolve, the higher we're going to vibrate. And one of the things that I have also talked about that I want to address, even in my show description of saying humanity is evolving, and then as our vibrations continue to rise, anything not in resonance will begin to fall away. And that includes beliefs, habits, friends, jobs, illness, disease, and anything and everything that doesn't resonate with us. And one of the things that I do want to interject here is that does not mean it is a bad thing. And it doesn't mean that you are better than or less than any of the things that you're not resonating with. We all are going to be, it's like we're instruments in an orchestra. And we play different tunes in the symphony. We play different, we make different music within the symphony. Each is important, each is unique, and each is very, very necessary to the whole for it to sound exactly as it does. And when we vibrate higher, and sometimes we can get sucked in and lower our vibration, but one of the things about that is you can't lower it that much, but you can lower it enough that you're going to recognize that, oh, this isn't me anymore. So it's really, by doing this, it gives you the opportunity to see how you're judging still, because this change, this separation of vibrations is again not a judgment. It's not good or bad or right or wrong. It's just that if it's a person, they're going down a different path, that they're finding a resonance that or a vibration that matches their resonance more than the one that you're on. And the vibrations may be equal as far as what they are, but each person's going to feel them different according to who they are. So we have a tendency to think, oh God, somebody's done something wrong, or they're not going to evolve, or it's not going to be as good, or anything along those lines. And that's just simply not true. It's just we're all different, and we're all going to hear the sound, the vibration that is going to resonate with what our soul has chosen for its journey on this path. So I'd say give me a call and let's talk about it. However, I'm still not seeing any way to take the phone calls. Thank you for letting me know that you guys can hear me. That matters a lot. I just am baffled about why this is not uh, showing up different. Anyway, um, please go to my website if you have any questions and or would like to make a comment. Uh, on the you can also access all of the archived shows through the website. You can purchase my book. You can leave me an email message, and you can also make a donation. All of those things are available to you through my website, and of course, any emails, messages that you send me, I will get them and I will respond. So I would like to hear from you. Just to know if this information that I'm sharing, these tools are working for you, if you're using them, um, what's going on in your world. We can make it easier for you, give you a different awareness and understanding. And of course, I'm very grateful to all the listeners that are out there, and especially to Love and Light on Twitter. It's just been really, really sweet to have you in my corner. So anyway, getting back to talking about stuff. When I first started doing this show, one of the poems, I guess, that I read was about the rules for being human. And like I said, I ran across these years and years and years and years ago. They do not have an author with them. They're just things that kind of floated around from one person to the other. But it's such a truth, and whoever put this out there is brilliant, and I want to thank them. But the rules for being human are very much worth revisiting. And the first one is that you will receive a body. You may like it or hate it, but it will be yours for the entire period this time around. Rule number 2, you will learn lessons. You are enrolled in a full-time school called life. Each day in this school, you will have the opportunity to learn lessons. You may like the lessons or think them irrelevant and stupid. Rule number 3, there are no mistakes, only lessons. Growth is a process of trial and error, or experimentation. The failed experiments are as much a part of the process as the experiment that ultimately works. Rule number 4, a lesson is repeated until learned. A lesson will be presented to you in various forms until you have learned it. When you have learned it, you can then go on to the next lesson. Number 5, learning lessons does not end. There is no part of life that does not contain its lessons. If you are alive, there are lessons to be learned. Number 6, there is no better than here. When your there has become a here, you will simply obtain another there that will again look better than here. Number 7, others are merely mirrors of you. You cannot love or hate something about another person unless it reflects something you love or hate about yourself. Number 8, what you make of your life is up to you. You have all the tools and resources you need. What you do with them is up to you, and that choice is yours. 9, ifs and shoulds don't count. If something should have happened, it would have, and since it didn't, it doesn't matter. All you can deal with is what is. 10, your answers lie inside of you. The answers to life's questions lie within you. All you need to do is look, listen, and trust. No one has your answers but you. Number 11, you will forget all of this. And number 12, you can remember it whenever you want. It's a different way of saying it, but everything And these rules for being human is what we've been talking about in various forms and in different ways. It's like everything that we experience in our life first comes from our belief system, from our thoughts and feelings. And recognize here that when we talk about a false belief, we are talking about a belief that was established without conscious awareness. That's what makes it a false, is because it wasn't created with choice. Whenever most of our beliefs were created and instilled by the time we were 5 years old, there is not enough conscious awareness for choice in those situations. And I will footnote here, but that's part of the conditioning and programming. That's the design of it. Because through those false beliefs, we become controlled and manipulated. We become sheeple, and we do and think and say and feel and believe as we are told to do. That is the ultimate fear trigger in this world. And if you think about it, you see how it connects. And the other one that I really, really want to, expand a little bit more is the ifs and the shoulds. It is, we play the what if game so much, we're not even conscious of doing it. It has become such an automatic part of our reality, of our conscious day-to-day life, that it's just a habit. It's a knee-jerk reaction. We instantly go into a what if. The minute we hear news, whether it's good or bad or neutral, we 9 times out of 10 will take it into a what if situation. Oh, going to the dentist, for example, and the dentist saying, you've got to have this tooth pulled. Well, immediately we go into, oh God, what if there's a problem? What if it hurts? What if my teeth separate? What if there's an infection? What if? And then with one of the what ifs that we have created, okay, what if I get an infection? And then we go to another what if from within that what if, saying, okay, if I get the infection, then, it could be serious enough that I could have to go to the hospital. I could have, there could be surgery. And before you know it, you've got yourself all tangled up in this intricately woven web of deceit, because nothing about that is true. And this is why I'm very adamant about saying, okay, now let's weave it the other way. What if it comes out clean, clear, you feel no pain, your body starts feeling better because there's no longer any infection, there's no soreness, it is under grace and perfect ways, and your body is just giving you thanks for releasing it from its pain. What if that? To me, that's the most logical way to go. Most heartfelt, most true, most real. Why would you want the other to manifest in your life? But the more that we play the what if game, the more we're feeding the wolf, the more we're feeding this energy. And again, we have free will and free choice. And when we put this much energy into something, it's going to come back to us, because we're asking for it based on the way energy works, based on just what is. That which you feed is what you manifest. And we are so in the habit of feeding the negative that we cannot see it. We literally can't see how what we're saying, doing, thinking, and feeling is negative. Well, it's the way it's always been. It's what I've always done. It's what I've always known. And it's like, okay, so what's wrong with that picture? Are you happy? Are you healthy? Are you in joy? Do you feel good? Do you love yourself? Do you love life? And if you don't, then how's that working for you? Just because you've always done something doesn't mean that you always have to do it. Becoming aware of it is giving yourself permission to change it. It's also giving you permission to look at the fact that you don't need that crutch any longer. That you have shifted, you have evolved, you have had an aha moment that you may not even be given the credence to that it deserves, that has shifted your crystal. Haven't you experienced doing something that you've always done and all of a sudden realize that, wow, this doesn't feel good anymore? I really don't like doing this. This really, really sucks. You know, that's your spirit's way of making you aware of your own evolution, of your own shift. And it's not going to always come to you in your face. With all of us being downloaded and rewired in dream time, as I call it, in our theta and delta levels of being, that's where we're getting the junk DNA reconnected, and then there is just everything about us is beginning to work differently. Our eyes and our throats and our ears and there's just head area stuff is changing so much. And that's because the hearing and the vision centers in our body are being completely revised in a sense. They're being rewired, they're being changed so that we can perceive more, so that we can smell colors and taste flowers and taste rainbows in a sense. We will be able to expand all of combine our senses in a sense to where we will be able to experience tasting, touching, seeing, feeling, hearing, anything that we come in contact with. And these are the things that are happening within us that we have no clue about, and we're not supposed to. It's not time yet. But as these things are happening, our vibration is shifting, our awareness, how we see our external world changing. And it's changing whether we're aware of it or not. The more aware of it you are, the more choice you have within it. It's just like knowing how to play the game is a lot more fun than getting sucked up in the game and not knowing what's happening. Or even as a spectator trying to watch a sporting event that you do not understand or have no clue about. You can get caught up in the energy of all of the fans and everybody without having any clue of what's going on. So it's kind of like that in a sense. I just got a email or a text saying that the phone lines are not open for whatever reason, which is very, very disappointing. I would dearly love to be able to have a conversation with you guys. So, for whatever reason, this is meant to be, and so I will just keep talking and sharing the information from my heart to yours. Of course, I'm going to take a little break here. Give me wet my whistle. So I want you to be really paying attention to how your world is shifting and changing, to how you are co-creating our human experience as well as creating your own world. We're not victims. That's so much of what everybody, the powers that be, have wanted us to believe, is that we are helpless, because that's what victim means, is that you're helpless. Something is being done to you that you have no control over. And sharing with you the information that has been shared with me by the higher realms is that nobody is a victim simply because of the soul agreements. And the soul agreements are basically spirit. We know we are evolving. We know that this is an experience that we're getting to partake in that will evolve us as a soul. And that's our goal. That's our growth. That's our passion, is to become more, to know more, to learn, to experience, to absorb all there is. And each soul has the same passion. And as how that passion is met is what is uniquely ours. And so when we make these soul agreements with each other, they are made specifically to assist each soul's evolution, to assist them in growing. And that includes experiencing something that they have yet to experience in the human realm. and putting it in the terms of the third dimension, becoming victim and victor. There has to be the balance. We call it karma, but it's not quite the same thing. But it's giving each soul the opportunity to experience the pendulum from its highest, from the positive to the negative. Okay, if I'm going to be male, then I need to be female. If I'm going to be loving and kind, then I need to experience brutality and violence. It's giving us the opportunity to experience the spectrum. And it's not only about the two that have made that soul agreement. Remember, we've made soul agreements with thousands of people that we will touch their lives or they will touch our lives to where there is not necessarily any conscious awareness of that. And there's not supposed to be if there isn't any. And sometimes you're going to be the good guy in a situation. Sometimes you're going to be the bad guy. Sometimes you're going to be mean and nice, and other times you're going to be nice. Sometimes you're going to be the killer, and other times you're going to be the killee. We are going to go through all of those aspects within some that will assist the soul to grow, to evolve. That's what it's all about. So when you really, really understand that and you can open up to that conscious awareness of it, then you can see how judgment has no place. Judgment doesn't fit. There is just absolutely nothing to judge when everybody has agreed in their hearts and their highest level to help each other grow. And I would really like to see more of us working in this terms of cooperation. There's plenty for everybody. Here, let me help you get yours. Instead of, no, I got to have mine. Oh, you don't do it the way I do it, so you're not any good, blah, blah, blah. It's always about judging. When you stay in competition, you have to judge. When you stay in cooperation, you share. There is abundance. There is flourishment. It's just like being vulnerable is your greatest protection. We are taught to close up, to bring our body in, to get smaller, or to pack ourselves down, get big enough that we can pack down guns and all kinds of ammunition and weapons to defend ourselves with. But the more that we do that, the more of a target we become. If we were to literally, spiritually, physically, mentally, emotionally, set down all of our weapons, place our feet under our shoulders, and raise our arms to the heavens, we would be more protected than we would have ever been in our entire lives. Because being vulnerable is our greatest protection. When you are open, when you are cooperative, there is nothing to fight about, so to speak. There is nothing that creates any negativity or animosity to the highest good of all. And you are included in the all. And that's something that is really important to pay attention to. Remember who you are, and remember who everybody else is too. You've never walked a mile in somebody else's shoes, and nobody knows what goes on behind closed doors. And many of us have experienced and understood that what it appears on the outside looking in is way different than what it is actually on the inside looking out. So remove the judgments of what another person's experience is and how they're expressing that experience outward in the world. Now, absolutely, we have to set boundaries on behaviors that are acceptable to us. You're not going to let somebody come up and slap you upside the face just because they happen to be angry or that's how they're choosing to express. No, that's not acceptable. And you have to set the boundaries for that kind of behavior because you honor and love yourself enough to be able to do that. If you don't love and honor yourself enough, you will allow others to treat you in that way. So it's still coming back to what's your relationship with yourself? Because literally every relationship you have stems from that. And that includes the one with Creator. You know, are you seeing yourself as part of Creator, or are you seeing yourself as something less than Creator? You know, whose truth are you living? Whose lies are you believing? Whose truth are you opening up to? Again, I will say a false belief is simply a choice, it is simply a belief established without conscious awareness. There is no choice. A truth is a belief that is established with awareness. There's a choice. So the key is when you become aware of a belief you're holding, you can keep it, you can change it, you can alter it, you can modify it, you can do whatever you want with it. But the minute that you become aware of a false belief, it's no longer a false belief because the awareness that you have of it has made you, uh, has given you your power back. It's made you responsible for what you say, think, do, and believe. Until you become aware, it will rule you. But the minute you become aware, you take your power back. You rule it. Now, because again, when you become aware of a false belief, and if it is not your truth, it becomes extremely uncomfortable to continue that behavior. So at that point, you just got to make a choice. Okay, do I believe this? Is this what I want to continue to believe? Is this working in my world? Is it making me happy? Am I healthy? Am I prosperous? Am I abundant? Am I important to me? You've got to ask yourself all of these questions. This is what is important to us, is to understand who we are and whose life we're living or who we're allowing to live our life. How many times do you do something that you don't want to do just simply to please another person? Why? Now, that doesn't mean that you just dig your heels in and get stubborn and start acting like a little shit, in a sense. But it's just, you have to pay attention different. You have to look at what's going on. What are you feeling? What are you saying? What are you thinking? Are they in harmony? Are they connected? Are they serving you? Remember, our ultimate goal in this life is to be or become non-disturbed. Because when we're non-disturbed, we are spirit again. We don't want to die. We just want to be spirit here in this physical realm. And that's exactly what we're getting our wish for. But this has been a journey and a process, and you got to remember we had to come into literally a spacesuit, which is what our bodies are. This is our house. This is home in this environment, in this world, in this realm. And as we are leaving this realm and evolving out of it, our spacesuits have to change too, because what we're living and experiencing in is no longer working. It's such a big change. And even if you have a hard time wrapping your head around that, think about it as going from one floor to another, either in a home or even in a hotel. Every room is going to be different. Every level is going to be different. It's all part of the same whole. But each level is going to contain exactly what that level needs for its purpose. We have all been, in a sense, living on the first floor. And our spacesuits have been perfect for that. And we have loved it or hated it, as some have. But then we're going up to the second floor, and the spacesuit is really, really uncomfortable. It's tight, but the new one doesn't fit quite so well yet. So we're spending a lot of time on the second floor adjusting and getting rewired and getting downloaded with the information and upgraded. And then whenever we get into the third floor, then it's going to be, we won't have to have the spacesuit anymore. We'll be able to function and experience and express in our non-disturbed way. So it's, again, it's really important to make sure that you are using the tools that you have been given, that you understand them, and if you have questions, you ask your guides. Trial and error is going to be your greatest teacher because long before I ever started teaching this, I lived it, I experimented with it, I tested it, I scrutinized it. And there was a lot of things of information that I was given that wasn't truth. It didn't hold the test of time. And the thing about these tools that I've given you and that we're learning to work within are that they're like universal laws. They work no matter what situation, experience, or circumstance you find yourself in. As long as you have a false belief or live in a world where that is prevalent, you're going to get a charge. And if you acknowledge it, allow and accept it, you'll get out of the charge, which means you dissipate the adrenaline, which is the poison to the system when it's held over a long time. In the beginning, when it's first released, it's a gift, it's a blessing, it's your superpower. But if it doesn't get used, then it becomes your poison. And that's true for all of it. That's what the illnesses and the diseases and the chronic suffering come from. Okay, I had to wet my whistle. So I wanted to remind you, all of us actually, myself included, one of the most beautiful things I have ever read and one of the most truest statements is the inaugural speech written for Nelson Mandela by Marianne Williamson. And she starts out with, our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, and fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. You playing small doesn't serve the world. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. And it's not just some of us, it is in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. That is truth. That is what is. That is what everything that we're talking about, everything that we are doing is all about. Remembering who we are, letting go of who we are not, and being able to see that not only in ourselves but in each other. And the more that we can see it in ourselves, the more that we can see it in each other. That's our power. That's what changes the world. It's not going out and standing on a soapbox on some corner and telling people how to live their lives and what to do. It's about going about your day, living your own life in your truth, in your integrity, in your love, in your kindness, in what resonates for you. Be comfortable in your own skin. You know, for so many of us, most of our lives, up to this point, and maybe even some a little beyond, have not felt comfortable in their own skin. They didn't feel like they belonged, that what they were told to live, the way they were told to live, and how to think and what to do, and just how to live their lives, just didn't feel right. It wasn't them. It just didn't work. And some rebelled, and others stepped in line the best they could. And yet there were consequences for all of those choices because all of it was not in resonance with who we are. For the first time ever, we are being given the opportunity to be in resonance with who we are. And we're just having to pull the garbage out of that can that has got us buried at the bottom of it with all this untruth dumped on us. And The one thing I can say about the energies at this time in our world is nothing is what it appears to be. It is all coming to be and passing away. Gaia is shifting. Gaia is evolving. And as she evolves, because we are inhabitants on her body, we have to evolve with her or we will cease to exist. And there are pockets. Nobody can heal without the sores all over your body being completely healed in different areas. And because you've got one sore in one area doesn't mean you're going to have it in others. But you could. And just if we use our own body as a metaphor for what Gaia is going through, all of the horrible violence and torture and deep conditioning and programming that has happened over the years, the eons, the millennia, is being released. It has to come to the surface. Well, lo and behold, what's happening to Gaia is happening to us, micro to macro. Everything that we are feeling and experiencing in our way, Gaia is doing the same in her own. And the areas of the world where the violence has been the most prevalent, those are the sores. Those are the areas that have to be healed. And sometimes the scab has to be pulled off to allow the healing to quicken. And there are a lot of different kinds of wounds and emotions that are held in Gaia, just like are held in us. Some of the wounds are physical and visible, but a lot of them are not. And so just shift your crystal to understand what's going on in a different way. Shift it to the point to where you can release the fear of, oh my God, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? What's going to happen is what needs to happen to the highest good of all. It's always been that way. But it's only whenever our attention is focused on it or whenever change is prevalent or is in our face, because change is always prevalent. It's the only thing that we can count on. The only thing that really is true is change. And just because you go about your day with minimal change, you're still experiencing change. So to be all freaked out by massive change is an illusion. You're getting your buttons pushed. You're getting your chain pulled. It's not real. Bring back your focus into your world, into your heart, and choose what you want to experience. Do you want to get all freaked out because things are changing? To me, that's kind of like getting all freaked out because the sun has risen. Well, it does it every day, so why are you being freaked out about it today? It's its nature. And everything that is going on, it has been denied, negated, resisted, ignored for so long. And the more Band-Aids that got put on it, the more that it seemed to disappear. And the status quo would have maintained that, except for the fact that Gaia has said no. We will evolve, and this will be cleared. I will be healed, whole, and healthy. And everyone who is an inhabitant in my world can do the same if they so choose. It is a choice. And getting back to what I've been saying all along, everything I'm sharing with you are just tools to make this journey easier, to give us clarity, to give us understanding, to give us a way to deal with it in a much different way than what we have been taught we're supposed to. The old ways will not work any longer. On the surface, in the icing, it may appear that they are. But when you get into the cake, there is nothing to support it. It is hollow. It is not going to be able to sustain itself. So whatever illusion that you are still trying to maintain, it's time for you to take a deep breath, step back, and surrender it to the highest good, to your highest good, and to the highest good of all, and let it and see what it becomes. Because if it's signaling you that it's time for the change, then something new and better is coming in its place. That doesn't mean immediately. That doesn't mean the second. It doesn't mean the second after you've released it that something will manifest. But it does mean that you have created the opportunity for it to come to you. And how you hold this memory is going to determine a lot of when that happens. Remember, free will, free choice encompasses everything in that sense. We get to choose how we remember our life and the experiences and the chaos and the conflict. Truth is truth. And your heart will not allow you to stay out of your truth much longer because it's evolving. And your heart brain is waking up. Your heart brain is our master computer. The heart brain is the balance, the harmony, the resonance, the synchronicity. That's everything. And the head brain's more ego's realm. Yes, that's where we store our intellect. But our wisdom is in our heart. And there has to be a connection between the intellect and the knowledge for the wisdom to manifest. You need your head brain as much as you need your heart brain. But it's just like ego and spirit. Spirit's got to be in control because ego is just going to try and ego's job is to help you survive. And ego doesn't really know what that means, especially in the fifth dimension, because ego doesn't exist in that realm. And ego's never experienced that realm. So there are so many different things out there for us to utilize, to think about, to try. And I'm a firm believer. If you're going to attempt something, if you're going to validate it, then give it your all. But also be wise enough to recognize that this isn't working and let it go, or this is working and embrace it 100%. Don't take somebody else's word for it. You have to test it. You have to use it. You have to get comfortable with it. It's like anything else that we do in our world. You don't just learn to bake from scratch. Sure, you can open up the cookbook and you can measure out all of the ingredients and you can put it together and it'll come out pretty good. But the more you do it, the more little secrets you learn, the more tricks that you understand, the helpful hints that you discover, ways to make the process easier. That's all this is ways to make your process easier so that the outcome is magnificent. It's still going to be beautiful, but it can also be magnificent. Use the tools. Apply them. Challenge them. Even if you go at them with the intent of, this is too simple, it's not going to work, and I'll show you. Great, but do it 100%. Because what's going to happen is you're going to figure it out. You're going to find that it does work after all. Love you. Meet your own needs. Connect with who you are. Give yourself permission to be this incredible person you are discovering yourself to be. And remember, you cannot become anything because you already are everything. And that is absolutely vital for you to plant that seed in your consciousness. Remember, remember, remember. You are already everything you want to be, or you wouldn't have a point of reference for wanting to be it. It's just been hidden from us. And it's not because we did something wrong. It's because we were doing everything to the highest good of all. We couldn't have accomplished what we came here to accomplish if we had that information available to us at the time. We wouldn't have done the work. We wouldn't have experienced and made the choices that we've made. We wouldn't have evolved each other in humanity the way we have had we been there before we were ready to be there. So this journey that we have taken through this very dark dimension and struggle, we have brought the light. We have learned how to do that and how to let your light shine in the midst of the darkness. Things are shifting and changing. Just keep remembering that this is coming to be and passing away and not that which abides. What abides is your truth. What abides is going to be your passion, what makes you happy, what fills your soul with joy. That's what will stay. And if it's not doing that, then let it go. It's time. And, in last week's show, one of the things that Lise had asked about was, how do you know when it's time to act on the decision you've made? And I still go back to my answer to her then. If it's being presented to you, it's time. Making the decision or making the choice is never the issue. The choice is made with heart, and it's made without interference, in a sense. But head wants to be sure. And this is where we get back into ego, saying, okay, let's wait. Let's make sure nothing else. Let's make sure that look around all the corners. We may be not crossing the street that those corners pertain to, but ego wants to look around the corners, which is just a stalling tactic. Trust your heart. If you are in your truth and you are walking your talk and living your beliefs, then you have to trust the choices you make are to your highest good. Especially now that you're making them with conscious awareness. Why would you choose something that's not your highest good? I mean, that's just a no-brainer. Alrighty, so I see that it's getting time for me to close this week's show. I apologize that no one was able to call in. This is a first, so I'm going to have to figure out how that happened. And please go to the website, check it out, send me a message, send me a topic you'd like to hear discussed. Communicate with me. Let me know that this is working and of value to you. So until next week, follow your heart's song and paint the world with the colors of your soul. Bye-bye.
Hi, this is Maury Moreland Morrison, here to tell you Geico has more than just great savings. Much more. Yes, while Geico could help you rack up more moolah faster than you can say metamorphosis, they've also been the fastest growing auto insurer for more than 10 years. That's more like it. Furthermore, Geico has fast and friendly claim service. That might seem like an oxymoron, but it's not. All the more reason to say no other auto insurer has more than Geico. Geico. Expect great savings and a whole lot more.